dramatic visuals certainly coming to light, but yes, what we have been seeing since early this morning is how clashes broke out at several places across West Bengal, not just between the BJP and TMC workers, also between the BJP Karyakartas and the West Bengal police personnel. At several railway stations also similar scenes came to light, Tamal. If we talk about Raniganj railway station, Bolpur railway station, Havra railway station, those are the kind of scenes that have been focused upon all through this morning as well. Tamal, now as far as the police action goes, they've maintained that permission was denied, but the BJP says their intention was to carry out a peaceful march and really highlight the corrupt practices being undertaken by some of the TMC netas. But given the detentions, given how high security is at place, do you see BJP's plan simmering down a bit?
Well, very unlikely. In the past too, they have never simmered down their intentions as far as taking their protest is concerned. In the past too, they had plans of taking out the protest and eventually they had to cut down and postpone their date because of some technical issues. But at this point in time, very unlikely they would change their plans. Very unlikely it would simmer down because it's all out. It's all out on the street. You have Dilip Ghosh leading a rally. You have got Shubhendu Adhikari who's already been arrested. There are BJP Karyakartas who have already assembled in Kolkata. There are BJP workers at Maidan who would be assembling and waiting to be led by Shukanta Mojumdar. So it is too late for anything to simmer down. But then, as I said, both sides have upped their gear. BJP wants to ensure their resistance on the ground or their protest on ground is being well registered. Minded, BJP is the opposition party in the state, and ever since 2021 assembly election, where BJP had been all up against Trinamool Congress, tried putting up a strong fight against Mamata Banerjee, was confident of winning the state. They could not. But then ever since that day, ever since that election, they have managed to remain the opposition in the state. But then thereafter, there had been subsequent elections after elections, by-elections, corporation election, where BJP has not really been performing well. So Trinamool Congress is trying to suggest that BJP, which has been on a downslide, is trying to revive through such spectacle, through such law violation. But BJP says that their relevance has never gone down, their relevance has never reduced, and they remain as the opposition in the state with their vote share intact, which is roughly above 37%. So at this point in time, BJP, which is also trying to give a strong fight in the Panchayat election, is also trying to ensure their presence on the ground be felt. So it doesn't really seem like they would simmer down at this point. But then at this point in time, yes, given the fact that water cannons have already been used, which means there had been a confrontation at some point in Kolkata, and similar confrontations have been happening elsewhere as well. In districts like Raniganj, Durgapur, also in Asansol, in East Midnapur, in Tamluk Kontai area, there are BJP workers who wanted to hop a train. They were not really allowed to get into the railway station, and that's how the confrontation happened. So yes, very unlikely that BJP would let go or give up at this point, because they're already on the streets. Shukanta Mojumdar is expected to lead the protest rally from Howrah Maidan Junction up till here, and they will be stopped here. When the confrontation happens, we have to wait and see, what look it takes. But then, as I've been showing, I'll ask my camera person to show as how water cannons have been put on standby, special forces, combat forces, all been there in their absolute combat gear on a standby mode, just to ensure that they can put up the resistance. So yes, on the ground there is massive show of strength on side of BJP. At the same time, as far as Trinamool Congress and Mamata Banerjee government is concerned, they are at the power, they are in the administration. They are also trying to ensure that their authority being there in administration is not swayed away by the presence of BJP on the ground. That's why we're also getting to see that absolute fortress-like arrangement made here on the streets of Kolkata and Howrah, just to ensure roads leading to the state secretariat are being absolutely isolated, secluded, and cut off, so that people cannot get to take those roads and reach to the state secretariat. I'll ask my camera person to move this side and show you as how the other bandobast has been done. There are vans. There are vans which have been put up here with special arrangement, just to ensure if anybody manages to breach the barricade, they can still be stopped. We have to understand this road, which is otherwise extremely bustling, is now completely cordoned off. I'll ask my camera person to focus over there. As far as the site goes, you would only get to see men in uniform. You would only get to see people in the combat fatigues, and they are trying to ensure that their presence is on the ground. At least a stretch of 5 kilometers completely sanitized. The area has been completely cordoned off. Local shops have been shut down so that locals do not get affected. If there is any kind of a lathi charge or a stone pelting, God forbid, no one should be impacted, no one should be hurt, and their businesses should not be affected. That's the reason in a situation, in an untoward situation as a fallout of a confrontation, there should not be victims. Locals should not fall victim. That's the reason, as you see, all these shops have now been shut down. So this is the arterial road. This is the significant road which takes you to the State Secretariat State, and the reason why this road is extremely important, and the road has been completely cordoned off. On to my right is the point from where the Maidan Junction begins, and from there the BJP workers planning to assemble and then move towards this particular road, and they would be stopped for sure. And this is the point which has been completely sanitized. Over there you see these are the roofs which were initially misused previously, leading to a misunderstanding, and of course there are also stoked intention. Either locals or somebody has misused these roofs, have also been in a way sanitized today.
We have Joy Prakash Majumdar of the TMC joining us on the phone line. Mr. Majumdar, now we do see the massive show of strength from the BJP. The workers have started gathering. They're intending to move towards the state secretariat, but massive security deployment. You're saying that this is going to create unrest across West Bengal?
Actually, during last few days, state BJP leaders, they were all preaching for a very violent movement. Dilip Ghosh, the erstwhile state president, Subhendu Adhikari, the opposition leader, and Sukanta Majumdar, present party president of BJP state president, all were advocated violent movement. Everyone asked for their followers to be violent during the movement. As a result, this happened. They could not gather much people. They borrowed people from CPM, as you know. Openly, they have asked CPM cadres to join and help them. And today's episode will be a black spot in democracy of India, as BJP, the ruling party at center, they have asked their cadres to take arms in their hand like Maoists.
Mr. Majumdar, you're saying BJP only intends to spread unrest, but the BJP is also hitting back, and in the reports that are coming to fore, there are clashes between BJP and TMC workers as well. So the TMC workers are also on ground. They're alleging that they have also attacked the BJP workers. How do you respond to the allegations?
No, this is a purely a manufactured allegation. Now, the state administration and police, they are responsible about keeping the peace in the state, and they are doing their duty. I would ask or request BJP leaders and central BJP leaders, please ask your Bengal unit not to take the course of violence and not to ask the cadres or followers to take arms like Maoist organizations.
Some of the leaders were detained even before they could take charge of the rallies, and thereafter they go on to say that they are wanting to ask the Mamata Sarkar as to why is it that the West Bengal government has cheated the people of the state.
No, it's a look. The state headquarters cannot be taken over or attacked by any political party. Any political movement has to be peaceful. Subhendu Adhikari went there and tried to break the barricade. As a result, he was arrested. Whether he is in Lucknow or whether it is in Delhi, it happens everywhere. No one is allowed by the police to break the law. The question is why BJP asked their cadre to take arms in their hand, like Dilip Ghosh said, Subhendu Adhikari said. They never said that the movement will be peaceful. We know about democratic rights.
Has the TMC also appealed its cadre to stay home and off the streets so that the state police can deal with the law and order situation and with the BJP workers?
TMC has got nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Only state administration, they are taking steps to keep the law and order intact. But the whole responsibility is BJP's shoulder, because for last few days they have, mitigated violence. They have asked their followers to be violent, and they have spread violence to make Bengal a place of violence. It is a very, it's a conspiracy that they wanted to have a situation where law and order could be break down, and that is the way they think that they can.
Okay, so you're saying that the BJP has failed to live up to its promise of staging a peaceful protest. Thank you for that, Mr. Majumdar. Let me go back to Tamal, who continues to report non-stop on this big story coming in from West Bengal. Tamal, the TMC is alleging that the BJP has resorted to violent means to stage these protests, to carry out this rally. What are you witnessing on ground?
As you see, the forces are all on standby, and Shukanto Mojumdar, who have been given to understand, has already arrived, so which means the rally from Howrah Maidan would begin very shortly. And when the rally begins, this is the only point where they would be challenged. And as they are being challenged, we have to wait and see what form it takes. The visuals that you're getting to see now of water cannons being fired on BJP workers, they are all being coming from Shatragachi, from where Shubhendu Adhikari was expected to lead a rally. Shubhendu Adhikari could not reach the spot because Shubhendu Adhikari was detained in Kolkata itself as he wanted to move towards Howrah. But then Shubhendu Adhikari could not reach Shatragachi, and in Shatragachi the BJP workers who had assembled had tried challenging the barricades. And as they challenged those barricades, the water cannons were fired, tear gas shells were fired, and BJP workers were dispersed. So this had been quite the similar situation elsewhere too, where BJP workers were confronted by the state administration. At this point in time, here in Howrah Maidan, the final point where the BJP workers expected to assemble and lead the protest rally towards the state secretariat. Similar arrangements have been made of water cannon. Similar arrangements have been made of water forces deployed in heavy number, along with forces in combat gear, just to ensure that people do not get to come close to the barricades and they don't get to breach the barricades. So yes, police are also have started miking now as that protesters should calm down. They should not resort to any kind of a violation law and order situation, because minded the political rally, the protest rally of BJP had been denied permission by the police.
Well, in fact, do stay on with us. Dramatic shots also coming across from the College Street. From Howrah, let's take you across there to Tanushri, who's joining us from the College Street. What's happening there, Tanushri?
Dilip Ghosh is walking in the rally. If I will ask my camera person to look here, Dilip Ghosh is walking in the rally, and he has already begun walking. The rally has begun from College Street. Now we know that this rally would be stopped at MG Road. This is what we are getting to know. The rally will be stopped at MG Road, but that is the first barricade. If they can break that barricade, then they would be stopped once again. That would be near Howrah Station, the Howrah Bridge, sorry. So therefore, this is where Dilip Ghosh has already begun walking in the rally, and we are seeing that thousands and thousands of supporters are over here. We are seeing there are thousands, if you see, thousands and thousands who are walking with Dilip Ghosh, and therefore the rally has begun. And this
thousands and thousands of supporters are over here. Dada, chalaiye isko. So therefore there are thousands of workers over here. We are seeing there are thousands, if you see, thousands and thousands who are walking with Dilip Ghosh, and therefore the rally has begun, and this is heading towards MG Road, where the first barricade is. Back to studio.
Well, I'd request you to continue showing us these visuals. You must tell us, because it's interesting. The TMC says all the people that you can see in the visuals are police personnel and media people, because BJP has no cadres. But these visuals you get for us, Tanushri, seems that there are at least hundreds of them who are right there, even as we speak at College Street. Tanushri, seems to be a bit of a problem there. As you can see, there are literally hundreds of people there walking in BJP's march. Let me go across to Tamal as well. Tamal, look at these visuals. These visuals belie what TMC claims, that there is zero cadre support, zero ground-based support for the BJP.
Ma'am, today is the BJP rally for Nabanna. Bijan, what is the rally exactly for? What is the demand?
रैली अन्याय का विरुद्ध है, against the criminalization and the institutionalization of criminalism in Bengal politics, the institutionalism of corruption. Corruption is institutionalized in Bengal, and a new industry of public money laundering has been set up by the Trinamool Congress, where people's money is looted and kept in the home of Trinamool netas. At the same time, the gang rapes and rapes have increased, and Trinamool leaders are directly involved in these offences. Today, we are in a democratic process where we are hitting the Rajpath of the capital city, protesting against this PAP. I call it PAP.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Now we
Meanwhile, look at these visuals which are coming in of this barricade of steel which has been put up. Let me go across to Tamal. Tamal, the TMC has said, Suvendu Adhikari to be precise, he said that this barricade of steel symbolizes Mamata Banerjee's anxiety and timidity. Tell us what you see.
Well, you know, Meghna, yes, this is the final point where the final culmination of today's show of strength of BJP expected to happen, which is Maidan. Over here, there is massive deployment of forces, massive arrangement done on the ground. BJP workers have already started assembling. Shukanto Mojumdar expected to lead that rally. Dilip Ghosh rally has already started. Suvendu Adhikari has been taken into preventive custody. There are the BJP workers who have been taken to preventive custody. Loket Chatterjee has been detained. But on the ground, so there is a visible tension which is there building up between the BJP and the state administration. State government has denied permission to BJP workers to hold the political rally or the protest rally. And on the other hand, you have BJP saying that they would be continuing with their protest. It is their democratic right to hold a protest rally. So yes, on the ground there is a sense of course, a sense of disquiet. A showdown is imminent, a face-off is imminent, and several एक सेकंड आप इस तरफ जाइए, हम लोग और नहीं मूव करेंगे, बहुत हो गया, नहीं गाड़ी आने दीजिए, गाड़ी जाने दीजिए ना, कहाँ से जाएंगे सर, जब जाएगा तब मूव कर जाएंगे, ठंड रखिए सर, लाइव में है हम लोग. So you know, there are BJP workers who are all assembling over there, and they will be making a march towards the state secretariat, and they will not be allowed, of course, because the police have already denied permission to BJP workers, saying that because of law and order situation, the rallies will not be allowed. They are saying the state secretariat, like any other state secretariat across the country, be it Kolkata, be it any other place in the country, they come under the high security zone. They are all section 144. They come under section 144. So nobody would be allowed to do any kind of a dharna or pradarshan near the state secretariat. As you get to hear the sloganeering, which is only coming closer and closer, and the sound amplifying, because the protesters have started assembling, and they have started assembling here, and they will be thereafter marching towards this very barricade point, which is Howrah Maidan point, and from here they will be moving towards at least making an attempt to move towards the state secretariat. We have seen in Shatragachi massive showdown happen. In Meghna, in Shatragachi, where Suvendu Adhikari was expected to lead a rally. Over there, water cannons have been fired. We have seen tear gas shells have been fired. Suvendu Adhikari himself could not reach there, but BJP workers had assembled over there, and they wanted to challenge the administration.
Protest. It's one of the many protests which have been taking place to protest against the widespread corruption which is there, which has now vitiated the state. And it's part of it's not only corruption in private hands, it is an officially sanctioned TMC corruption. So it is against this to mobilize public opinion that we have called this demonstration. And the demonstration, as you can well see, has been blocked at various points in Howrah, in Satragachi. Shubhendu has been arrested. But all the same, we will continue.
One thing we have seen is Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is not here, but your Karyakartas were not allowed to even board trains in districts.
Yeah, that's the thing which has been quite prevalent. You'll find that they have using these archaic administrative methods. That Howrah, it's not allowed, Calcutta, it's allowed, and these sort of things, these administrative subterfuge. Look, the point is, they want to show they will not permit any democratic dissent in this state. And this is part of that endeavor of theirs. So we are going to continue. Look, this is one small step in the creation of an alternative, a viable, stable, wholesome alternative for West Bengal.
Shubhendu Adhikari, Loket Chatterjee already detained, tear gases, water cannons used in Satragachi.
Yeah, that's already, that's proof of it. And you know, the whole point is, this was not something unexpected. We've been about this for a long time. If this sort of demonstration, these sort of demonstrations are not allowed, I don't know what is. You can see for yourself, your viewers can see for themselves. The visuals will speak 1,000 words, and those currency notes which are to be found underneath the beds in those people's houses, they also speak 1,000,000 words.
So we have with here Shopan Gupta, who has spoken about all this. We are seeing the rally is moving forward. It's on the street and in MG Road, and the rally is going forward. This is directly leading to Howrah Bridge. Now, where the police will be stopping them, that is to be seen. Till now, the rally has been allowed to move, and that is what we see. All the Karyakartas have moved forward. The leaders have moved forward. Dilip Ghosh is right in front, leading the rally. And right now, over here, till now, the police has not even stopped the rally. The police is allowing the rally. But one thing we know is that the rally will be stopped close to Howrah Bridge, where they are supposed to merge with Shukanto Mazumdar's rally. And from there, they are supposed to move towards Nabanna. Already the Satragachi rally, there has been tear gas, there has been water cannons that have been used. But right now, over here, from College Street, the rally has started moving into MG Road. Back to studio.
Come to you. So even as we speak, Dilip Ghosh is leading the BJP cadres in the rally. We can see one of the policemen also injured in what seems to be a case of stone pelting which happens. This is very, very unfortunate. There have been water cannons, tear gas shells, there's been stone pelting, even an injured policeman there on your screens. But what we know, Tamal, is that Dilip Ghosh currently is headed towards Howrah. What's the preparation like to stop Dilip Ghosh and his supporters there?
Well, Meghna, one second. Yeah, Meghna, we will come to the visuals now. Over there, as you see, BJP workers here in Howrah Maidan trying to get onto the barricades, and they are trying to throw water packets. BJP workers have assembled here in Howrah Maidan, and over here, the water cannons are on standby. They will be fired any moment. There you see, the BJP workers have literally gone on the barricades, and they are trying to challenge the forces. They are trying to challenge the forces. The forces are massively deployed out here, all in combat gear, wearing their helmets. BJP protesters have literally gone on the barricading, standing on the barricading, and they are throwing water packets now. So yes, they are trying to challenge the administration. They challenge the security arrangement out here. The BJP workers are waving their flags. Massive people, massive crowd from BJP outside, behind these people. Police are trying to calm them down, not really resorting to lathi charge, but telling them to get off the barricade. They will not be allowed to breach it. But BJP workers over there, as you see, trying to get on the pole, asking everyone to breach the barricades. Over there, as you see, they are now throwing whatever they can lay their hands on. They are trying to throw, some wooden boxes. They are trying to throw whatever they can lay their hands on. They've also kind of thrown balloons with BJP flags, but now, as you see from the other side, they are trying to throw small stones. They're also trying to throw those flag poles on the security people, and they are trying to break the barricade. As I've been saying, this barricade is extremely important. This particular barricade is the final barricade, the only barricade that kind of separates the protesters from the state secretariat. This is the final point, and over here the BJP workers have assembled, and the BJP workers are here. As you see, they are trying to challenge the administration. They are trying to challenge the police. The water cannons are on a standby now. As you see, the water cannons could be fired any moment, and there are multiple water cannons which are here put in place. They are trying to throw.
You must be very, very careful. You're very close to where the barricades are, where the water cannons are right now stationed. Please do be safe and be careful about your safety. Let me go across to Rahul Sinha of the BJP who's joining us. Rahul Sinha, even as we speak to you, water cannons there being fired at the BJP cadres at the Howrah Bridge ahead of Dilip Ghosh and all reaching there. Have you appealed for peace and calm?
कांग्रेस बीजेपी का आंदोलन से कितना भयभीत हो गया। अभी हम लोग लाल बाजार हेडक्वार्टर में है, पुलिस हेडक्वार्टर में हम लोग को हिरासत में लिया गया। इसमें शुभेंदु अधिकारी जो हमारा विपक्ष का लीडर है, मैं, राहुल सिन्हा और लोकेट चटर्जी एमपी, तीनों को अभी हिरासत में ले गया। हम लोग का अपराध क्या है, हम लोग सड़क से जा रहा था, अलग अलग कार से जा रहा था और हमारा साथ एक भी कार्यकर्ता नहीं था। तो
आपसे बात कर रहे हैं तो अभी जो आपके कार्डर्स थे वो जंप करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे स्टील बैरिकेड्स, उनके ऊपर अभी वाटर कैनन चलाए जा रहे हैं।
नहीं बोल रहा हूँ इसीलिए जिस सरकार बिना अपराध में हम लोग को चोर पॉकेट मार का माफी करके अरेस्ट कर सकता है, उसका कार्यकर्ता का ऊपर तो हमला करेंगे। इन लोगों ने अब बर्बाद कर रहा है। अब सब सुनना है तो सुनिए, नहीं छोड़िए।
राहुल सिन्हा, हमें अपने रिपोर्टर के पास जाना है जो ग्राउंड से अपने जान जोखिम में डाल के गेटिंग अस रिपोर्ट्स लाइक दिस। तमल, ओवर टू यू।
Well, Meghna, ugly scenes out here. I'll ask my camera person to focus over there. The water cannons have now been fired on BJP workers, and there you see they are trying to throw whatever they can lay their hands on. We have just seen stones, bricks, and of course sleepers have been thrown. The water cannon has been fired on the BJP workers just to ensure they can be dispersed. The crowd is huge, and they are trying getting on the barricade. Over there, as you see, stones and bricks have been hurled on the police people who are on complete combat gear, wearing helmet on all. And there you see they are throwing stones, they are throwing water packets, they are throwing stones, bricks, and of course they are throwing flagpoles, they are throwing wooden blocks as well. So yes, absolute tension out here. The water cannons have been unleashed just to disperse the crowd, just to ensure that people do not get close to the barricade. We have just seen just short while back BJP workers getting on the barricade. We have just seen a short while back BJP workers getting on the barricade, trying to challenge them, and in a way breach the barricades. They have been stopped. As you see, all the water cannons have now been unleashed. All the forces who are here, they are absolutely on a very strong position. They are in absolute headgear, wearing helmet and all, and they are trying to thwart every attempt of their movement. The second water cannon has been now unleashed. Both the water cannons are functional, but still there you see BJP workers are trying to get on the barricades, and of course they are trying to challenge the state administration. It is turning out very ugly, as BJP workers here at Howrah Maidan have tried challenging the barricades. Mind you, the permission for the rally has been denied. The rally permission has been denied. And BJP had been denied permission for this particular rally, and BJP has been told that they cannot really hold a rally over here because section 144 is there. Okay, there you see a wooden block has been thrown. And it is only turning very, very ugly out here. the protesters are trying to be extremely violent, challenging the administration, challenging the barricades. They are trying to loosen up those wooden blocks which were giving grip to the barricades and then throw at the police. They have thrown bricks, they are throwing stones, and the water cannon has thus been fired. The first water cannon has stopped. The second one is now on. They are trying to push the crowd behind. The water cannon is on, and the protesters who are still there assembled, waving the flags, trying to assert their anger, assert their protest, their resistance. Over there you see the BJP workers. I'll ask my camera person to focus how they are throwing stones, how they are trying to even attack the BJP, the police people with the flagpoles. Stones hurled again over there. Stones being pelted, and of course there you see stones being pelted non-stop, stone chips, bricks being pelted, and now the forces are moving closer to the barricade. They are now throwing stones this side as well. So yes, there you see the barricades and all being hurled at the police people. It's very, very ugly and a volatile situation over here. We have to now wait and see whether police would also in a way resort to firing of tear gas shells. But at this point in time, ugly scenes unfolding. Very, very ugly scenes unfolding. Water cannons have been fired. This one has been fired on the protesters just to ensure that the protesters are being dispersed. And there you see the protesters are trying to push the barricade. The police people on the other side are also trying to give absolute force and add strength to the barricade so that they don't fall apart. And the water cannons have also been unleashed on the protesters, but that doesn't mean they have left the way. They're still very much there. They are trying to ensure that their resistance is being felt, and at the same time, okay, the second water cannon has been stopped, and the BJP workers over there would once again, okay, there you see, they're throwing stones like this. This has just come from the other side, so they are kind of picking up whatever they can lay their hands on and trying to haul this side. So yes, bricks and stones being pelted, and of course they are trying to come closer to the barricade. Such bricks have been hurled towards the security people, towards the police. The first barricade has once again been unleashed, and it's on now on the protesters. The protesters are trying to ensure that they find their way, or they at least stay put over there. It seems like very unlikely given the fact the kind of force which is deployed over here. In Howrah, hundreds and hundreds of forces have been deployed, and at the same time hundreds and hundreds of BJP workers have also assembled over here. I'll ask my camera person if he can manage to get some visual of the BJP protesters who are there on the other side of the barricade, and now at the receiving end of the water cannon. The water cannons are on. They are being flushed on the protesters so that the protesters do not stand anywhere close to the barricade, and the barricades stay strong. As far as the barricades are concerned, they had the wooden grip, the grip of iron bars. They had the grip of wooden blocks as well. Now they have been loosened by the protesters and now been picked up and hurled at the security people. So the water cannons with all its force now being unleashed on the administration, on the police people who are upping their combat gear. As you see, they are all upping their combat gear. But because from the other side, what might come flying down, we have no idea. But at this point in time, yes, it is absolute confrontation which is happening between BJP and the police people, the Howrah police, and of course the Bengal police. The Howrah police commissioner, who too himself had been deployed over here just to ensure the place remain completely guarded. The situation is extremely volatile out here, and the situation is extremely volatile out here, and We see the water cannons have been fired. So far, tear gas shells not been fired, but from that side, we constantly get to see stones and bricks are being hauled this side. Even wooden blocks, bricks have been hauled. They are also trying to throw the flag poles, the flag poles. All right, there you see. There you see, they are trying to ensure that the crowd can be dispersed from all sides. The crowd do not come anywhere close. Okay, the crowd doesn't come anywhere close to the barricading. Over here, massive deployment of forces have been done, and the security people are trying to ensure that they stay put here. The security people are trying to ensure that they stay put here in absolute headgear, and they are trying to ensure that they give all the support to the barricades, which are now being challenged by the BJP workers. Okay, there you see the second water cannon has also been opened. It's now firing water on the protesters. But the protesters have not really left their space. They have not really left their way. They are trying to ensure that they stay put there in order to register their anger, and of course in order to register their protest against the state administration of Mamata Banerjee. So over there, water cannons have been fired on the BJP workers. BJP workers are trying to ensure that they, in a way, stay put there as a mark of their resistance, and the BJP people are trying to also throw stones, bricks, flagpoles on the security people. So yes, overall a very tense situation out here. As you see on the road, there are BJP workers. On the other side of the barricade, you have police people who are trying to control the crowd. We are trying to ensure that the road leading to the state secretariat is not being breached. This is a very arterial road which leads to the state secretariat, which is Nabanna. Now the state secretariat comes under section 144, and it is a highly secured zone. And at the same time, no protest, no demonstration has ever been allowed over there. But then there you see somebody completely drenched in water now coming back from the post to the barricade. Over there, as you see, BJP workers have managed to loosen the barricades. I will ask my camera person to focus. The barricades have now been loosened. The lampposts are also shaking. There are electrical sparks happening over here. The lampposts are now shaking. The electrical sparks happening. The barricades which are holding on to those lampposts, the electrical posts, they are all now losing their grip as BJP is trying to, in a way, break these barricades. If these barricades have been broken, it might just be all hell break loose, because these barricades are the final barrier between the protesters and this road. Okay, there you see, there is a massive spark over there. There is a massive electrical spark. It is only turning out to be extremely risky. There is a massive spark. An electrical post is also giving up. The transformer is giving up because of the water pressure and the force with which BJP workers are trying to push the barricade. So yes, situation is very, very volatile. Situation is very, very tense. We see that police people now further taking position. Tear gas shells would be fired. We are seeing police people taking position. Lathi charge and tear gas shells seems like imminent, unavoidable now. There are lampposts which are now giving up. There are electrical posts which might fall over there, as you see. Electrical sparks happening over there. Oh my God, there are electrical sparks happening. Very, very risky now. Very, very risky. We just hope and pray people are safe. The electrical posts are now giving up. These protesters are not giving up their way. They are still trying to push their way towards this road, and the barricades are now falling weak. The barricades are falling weak, as you see there. The barricades are falling weak now. Tear gas shells now being fired. Tear gas shells are being fired on the protesters. Tear gas shells are now being fired on the protesters. Tear gas shells are now being fired on the protesters. As you see, tear gas shells are now being fired. Police people are now firing tear gas shells at BJP workers who have so far tried resisting the barricades and tried making their way. BJP workers have not really given up their position. The barricades are on. The electrical sparks are turning out to be very, very scary. Very, very scary. Another round of tear gas shells being fired. Another round of tear gas shells being fired. As you see, tear gas shells are now being fired. I'll ask my camera person. Tear gas shells are being fired. Come this side, come this side. Come with me. Tear gas shells are now being fired. It's very risky to be here. Over there, as you see, the protesters are now unrelenting, and the reason why, there you see, the protesters are now unrelenting, and they will not. There you see the shells are being fired. There you see the. So tear gas shells being fired, and BJP workers over there, they are trying to be there. They are not really moving their way. Okay, non-stop firing of tear gas shells to disperse the crowd. Tear gas shells being fired non-stop on the BJP workers just to ensure they do not come anywhere close to the barricades. Tear gas shells being fired. Okay, massive firing over here. Massive firing over here. Tear gas shells being fired. As you see, massive firing over here. Tear gas shells are being fired. The sounds are very, very scary. Horrifying scenes out here. Horrifying scenes unfolding. BJP workers are now being pushed with the help of firing of tear gas shells. Tear gas shells being fired by the police. Massive tension building up